Minutes in for the women. There's Jan Frodeno.
Pablo Dapina talking with Jan. So Pablo Dapina, training friend of Sarah Perez, currently leading our race.
They're about 7 minutes away from getting in the water and starting their event. Greg's down there.
Yes, guys, I've just had a great conversation with Jan Frodeno, and surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, I don't know, he's very nervous. He said, look, it's like I haven't raced for 15, 16 months. I feel like a new kid just gets starting out again. So he's, he feels the target on his back. He's feeling a bit of pressure. It's largely just he hasn't raced before. He's nervous. He's very excited though, and but the guy, he looks relaxed, but he's been shivering with nerves. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs.
And that was interesting. I also asked him, I said, how are you feeling coming into this? And the first word he said was nervous. I said, how can you feel nervous? He said, I always feel a little bit nervous because I know that I have to be my best because everyone is shooting for me. So that's another thing. A reputation has been built already for Jan. I mean, when we mentioned that Jan was going to be in this event, immediately everyone was saying, "Oh, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest. He's this." And when I asked Jan, I said, "Okay, people call you the GOAT." He said, "No. He said it depends on where you're from." He said, "If you're from Great Britain, Alistair Brownlee.
That's true.
If you're from America, Americans are the best." He said, so it just depends on where you're from. I said, well, I think a lot of people think you're pretty darn good.
He is. And what I love about Jan, we know he's German. He was brought up in South Africa. You can see him then speaking Spanish to Pablo Dapina. Speaks, I think, 4 or 5 different languages. He's quite incredible.
I struggle with English. Yeah. And he's got 5 languages that he's able to work on.
Oh, I tell you what, he looks so excited. Look at him, I love this.
17 months.
17 months.
17 months away from competition and a big smile.
517 days. I mean, not that he's been counting much. And look at him, you can see him down there dancing around. He just wants to get this show on the road and get going.
Yeah, just minutes away from the start of the men's event. They will run simultaneous with the women. The finish for the women. And again, Sarah Perez out in front for the women. She has a 1 minute 41 second lead over Lucy Charles Barkley, so they're eating away a little bit at that lead.
They are. They're actually in that last mile and a half. They took 30 seconds out of her lead. So Stimson and Charles Barkley, 30 seconds out, and Paula has actually lost about 15 seconds to Jodie and Lucy. So, very, very interesting race on our hands here with the female.
Yeah, we'll see if Paula is able to regroup and get back in with that group, the group that's catching now, Sarah Perez. The men are starting to make their way toward the water, so it's time to hear the introduction of the top 10 men for Challenge Miami.
And now, let's introduce to you the top 10 ranked athletes in today's race. From Germany, wearing number 100, ranked number 1 in the world ranking and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Mr. Jan Frodeno. From Canada, wearing 101, he's ranked 5th in the world, 2017 long distance world champion at the Challenge Daytona, defending champion, Mr. Lionel Sanders. From the United States, wearing bib number 102, he's ranked number 6 in the world, 3-time Ironman Africa world champion, Mr. Ben Hoffman. Wearing 103 from the United States, he's world ranked number 8. He's a bronze medalist at the 2019 7.3 World Championships. This is Rudy Bomberg. Also from the United States, wearing bib number 104. He's ranked number 9th in the world, 3rd place in the Challenge Daytona with the best run of the day, Mr. Matt Hansen. A former naval officer from the U.S. Navy, wearing 105 from the United States, ranked number 13 and 2009 long distance world champion, Mr. Tim T.O. O'Donnell. From Bermuda, wearing bib number 106, 2-time Bermuda Male Athlete of the Year, and he's ranked number 12 in the world, Tyler Butterfield. from the United States, wearing bib number 107, ranked number 14th in the world, 6-time long distance champion, Mr. Chris Lieberman. From Germany, wearing number 109, he's ranked 18th in the world, he's defending challenge rough champion, Andreas Dritz. And from Spain, de la Madre Patria España, wearing number 110, he's ranked 19th in the world, and he's the 2018 ITU long distance champion. Welcome, Pablo Da Pena Gonzalez.
So there are the top 10 men, and the rest of the field are going to make their way into the water, and they will get underway with their event. The exact same distances. It'll be a mile swim, 39-mile bike, and 10.5 miles run. And that is what the women are on right now. Out front for the women is Sarah Perez. We're going to take another look at the top 10 contenders for the men.
It gets real soft about 3 feet in.
There you have them in the rankings, the Professional Triathlete Organization rankings on the right side. Jan Frodeno, and we've mentioned it over and over because it's very important. 17 months since the last time he has been in a competition. He told me, I said, okay, well, you've been training that whole time. He says, but at the same time, I've had injuries. He's had major injuries. Getting on the bike, he's had bike crashes, which has hurt his back, his hip. So that has slowed down the training. But he said that he feels good coming into this event.
He does, and I was just chatting on Instagram to one of his very good friends who said he really is as excited as you just saw him jumping around. He's been like that for the last 2 months. Every single time he'd see him, he just wants to get back out there and do what he knows he does best, and that's race again. As they're off.
He's in the gold cap, and you saw him eagerly awaiting the horn and the firing of the cannon.
And they're off. We do.
Once again, the favorite in the swim is going to be Jan Frodeno. A very strong swimmer. Great.
Yes, guys, I was interested to see that Jan Frodeno really wanted to start left, even though they were trying to make him go right. And even more importantly, Lionel Sanders decided to start in basically the 3rd row. He went far right and started towards the back. I was really surprised that with his ranking that he wouldn't position himself towards the front.
Lionel Sanders has told us that he's been working on his swim. He was almost embarrassed. He said at what happened at Challenge Daytona, he said he went right away and joined a swim club. And it had taken 62. He said, I've swam 62 times with the swim club since Daytona. And so he's hoping that he has a better swim here at Challenge Miami.
Yes.
Again, while the men are in the water, the women are running. Sarah Perez now with about a minute 21-second lead over Lucy Charles Barkley. Jody Stimson up there. Paula Finley 2 minutes back. There's
So
Sarah.
Paula losing quite a bit of time to our front 3, and of course we've got Jackie Herring and Sky Monch and Alyssa Daylar coming through. But interesting to see, no real leader right now in the swim. You can see Tim O'Donnell in the pink cap out in front. You can see Jan Frodeno right behind him in the gold cap.
Again, while the women are running on the lower left there, you see Sarah Perez. You go to Alicia.
Yeah, I'm down here, been riding right next to Jody Simpson and Lucy Charles, and they are running a very tactical race. The two of them took turns in that headwind section 2 times per person, so they're really treating this almost like a bike race. If we could allow drafting, drafting is 100% allowed in the swim and the run, and these 2 women are taking advantage of that. I've got to give kudos to Sarah Perez, that she still looks an awful long way away, holding that 120 gap. And while it doesn't sound like a lot, it looks like an eternity with the sun beating down on the track. And we're going to go ahead and throw it over to Greg, who's going to catch us up on the men's swim.
Hey guys, just letting you know that Ben Canute has had an absolute flyer of a start. There's even a body length between him and second place. My underdog, and I hate to brag, he's really doing a great job out in front right now in the white cap. Jan Frodeno, he's back in about the 4th, 5th in a little bit of a fight. It was quite rough as they went around that first turning boy. And like I said, that's only 150 metres into this swim start. It broke up very, very quickly. Lionel Sanders is about 5th from last, but still one big long pack, except for Ben Canute, who's opened up a small gap off the front.
And Greg, I'll have some ice sent down there. I know your shoulder must be sore from tapping yourself on the back there. But
well, you know, when you're right, you're right. I don't know what to say.
I do want to just clarify, Jan Frodeno, he has a gold cap on. Lionel Sanders, neon green. Rudy Von Berg, a purple cap. Powder blue cap for Matt Hansen, neon pink for Tim O'Donnell, a red cap for Pablo de Pena, a silver cap for Bart Arnouts, and a black cap for Starkey. The white cap, obviously, Ben Canute up front, and neon yellow is Magnus Dittler.
Correct.
And the men now have made the final turn and are coming back toward the finish of the swim.
And this is a nice split. Nice group of 4. They've got obviously not a huge amount of time, but that is enough time for them to get into transition and out onto the bikes.
Ben Canute, we're believing that it's Scott Haberly that's up there with him.
We're not sure if it's Scott or if it's Andrew Starkowitz.
Starkey
it could be Starkey.
Well.
I know. We just can't tell, but it could be either or.
So in that royal blue cap, but we know the gold of Jan Frodeno and Tim O'Donnell, all a part of this pack of 4. Is on the lower part of your screen. You see Jody Stimson now increasing her lead.
Look at that gap. Look at that gap already, Rick. That's incredible. Amazing.
7 seconds, but more importantly, the athlete she was running with at the start of this race was Lucy Charles Barclay, and now she's put 26 seconds between herself and Lucy. So Jody putting down some impressive lap times as she's on her 5th lap of 7. Here come the men. They're about to exit the water. Ben Canute in front. Greg.
Ben Canute first out of the water. It's Nick Castellan, Jan Frodeno's training partner. That's who's out of the water. Tio in 4th. What a great swim after Ben Canute really attacked the top marker and opened up a gap. But Tio showed tremendous grit to keep up with that 4. And so that was Jan Frodeno's training partner that entire time, guys. Nick Castellan, who is absolutely a phenomenal swimmer. I don't know how. Forgive me, all Australians and everybody, for missing that one.
Well,
We missed it too.
Yeah.
We missed it too. Don't worry.
We've got an Aussie up here next to me that didn't recognize that.
I went out for dinner.
Struggling to get the.
I went out for dinner the other night with Nick, and he told me he was swimming well. Shame on me.
Here comes the second group, guys. They're only about 15 seconds behind, including Rudy Von Berg. There's a massive group there. There's probably 7 guys that are all running there. Eric Lagerstrom, one of our underdogs, is also in that group.
Jan getting out now.
Whoops.
Oh,
Whoops.
over the cone and struggling. There goes the water bottle.
Whoops. Was that Ben Canute?
It looks like Ben's struggling to put the water bottle back in.
But these little things happen because, you know, normally these men have been racing week in, week out, but they have had so little opportunity to race that these little errors that normally wouldn't happen, they're just out of practice.
Here's the struggle he has.
Didn't get the leg over.
Oh, he hit the water bottle.
Nope, hit the cone. Whoops.
And then the cone.
And
then the water bottle comes out after he goes over the cone. Just those little struggles. You don't think it means a lot, but at the same time, that means maybe a position, maybe 2, maybe 3 positions that he lost right there.
And it also rattles you. It also rattles you mentally.
T1 times. 50 seconds.
All right, so that is a nice lead group. And of course, Nick Castellan has been training partner of Jan Frodeno for quite a few years now. They both live in Girona, Spain. Nick, of course, originally from Australia, still calls Australia home. Spends a lot of time in Noosa, where Jan Frodeno also owns a home. Under normal circumstances, Jan would be in Australia right now during our summer.
We're hearing Lionel Sanders about to come out of the water, Greg.
Lionel Sanders is out of the water. He's had a fantastic swim. He's at his transition. He's ready to go. I think he's going to be pretty happy with that swim. He's got some work to do on the bike, but probably in a better position than he was after Daytona. And so his helmet is clipped. He's got his run out, and off he goes. He's looking good, guys. Very determined. I think we're going to have a good race here. I'm excited.
Do we know what type of time split? Did we get the time split on that, GB?
I had a time split at the bottom marker, which was around about a minute 45, minute 50. And like I said, I think he'd be happy with around that 2 minutes.
Definitely.
Again, that's my watch, everybody. Please don't take it as absolute science. But I think we'll have the accurate split anytime.
As you can hear, all the spectators and managers and coaches down there yelling out times. So we've got Andrew Starkowitz down about 1:10, which is quite unusual. I didn't think Starkey would be that far down. And Magnus Ditlev, our Uber rider and youngest pro in the field at 23 years of age, at 1:36 down. So we all remember Magnus Ditlev from Daytona when he rode through the field. He told us earlier that he's hoping to hold about 400 watts for the ride today. Phenomenal bike rider, excuse me, as we see Jodie Stimpson, 5:50 minute 6th, Paula Finlay managing to come home in 7th, Sarah Crowley in 8th, Heather Jackson in 9th, and of course, fantastic to see Meredith Kessler, our oldest female in the field, and I know she won't mind me saying that because we think she's an absolute legend, coming home and rounding that top 10. So
one of the mothers.
One of the mothers, that's right. Of course, we know our third place, Jackie Herring, also a mother. Incredible racing from these women today.
And the men on lap 8 of 17. And we've heard the pace upwards of over 40 miles an hour when they have the wind behind them coming down the front stretch. It's Andrew Starkowitz, which is out front, Starkey, leading Jan Frodeno. Jan Frodeno, the #1 triathlete in the world, came out of the water. He was 3rd.
And we do know that Magnus Ditlev, currently in 4th, is actually the fastest bike rider on the field right now. He's riding faster than Starkey up front.
We mentioned Jackie Herring and her 3rd place finish. Let's hear from her. Alicia's with her now.
On his absolute worst day. So as he's put himself in the box seat. He is exactly where he needs to be. He's doing exactly what he should be doing. It's typical Jan Frodeno style. He's a tactician and he's racing to perfection. You would never know, looking at this, that he's had 17 months off racing. He's just doing nothing wrong and everything right.
When I mentioned to him, I said, "You feel like you put yourself in a position to come out and win this race." He said, "You know, I would have liked more time. I would have liked more time to prepare for this event." He said, "Normally it would be a couple months that I would be focusing on an event and preparing myself for it." He said this one, about 6 or 7 weeks is all he had, you know, when he really knew that he was coming to do this event. And he said, "That's not normally enough time for me to, you know, hone it in." But he said, I wouldn't come to an event if I didn't think that I was ready.
Exactly. And I think, particularly because it's been such a long time, you've just got to take the bull by the horns and say, you know what, it's now or never. In the environment we're in right now, we don't know when the next race is going to be. He knew this race was going to happen. It was a guaranteed thing. And sometimes not having that opportunity to overanalyze or get that next or that last key session in, it can be a blessing in disguise because you just go with what you've got. You've got nothing to lose. And Jan, as we said, he's going to always give everything he's got and some. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. And I for one, I've always loved watching Jan Frodeno race, and today is no different.
What about the distraction of what he's doing off of training and off track? I mean, he built himself a business, more or less.
Oh, look, I think that's what separates Jan to nearly every other professional athlete on the circuit. It is hard enough to be a professional athlete and have that as your only job, as your only focus. But for Jan Frodeno, it wasn't enough. So, you know, he's got a beautiful wife, Emma Frodeno, who's back home in Girona with their 2 kids. They've just opened a new business. It's a beautiful boutique hotel with a gorgeous cafe downstairs. And right next door is his sponsor shop, Rise On. It's his clothing sponsor. Great little cafe. It's called La Comuna. They've just opened up. They had a soft opening not so long ago, but really it's a brand new business. And so to think that they've just got that up off the ground, but he's still in a position to get himself ready to race, it's pretty incredible, to be honest.
And Frodissimo, is that a coffee?
That's his coffee. So
that's his
yes,
coffee, Frodissimo.
Frodissimo is the name of his
Yellow shoes or socks that I saw.
and sandals.
That's right.
Look, you know what? If anyone can get away with it, anyone could pull it off. It's Jan Frodeno, but I'm not sure anyone else could have.
When I was telling my wife, I had met Jan, and I said, he is a physical specimen. I said, he's not like bulky or big and muscular up in the arms and shoulders. I said, but at the same time, he is, I would just guesstimate maybe 4% body fat, maybe not even that. I mean, the muscles in his legs are so defined. He's just such a fine athlete. As we were talking about him, we see Magnus Ditlev go by. And this is what Magnus has to do. Magnus has to get in front of these guys because he's not a strong runner. So he's got to get by them. He's going to have to work on Starkey if he can.
But I tell you what I like this time round as compared to Daytona at the PTO Champs. Magnus had he can come back and do any distance, to be honest.
So here's Ditlev. Magnus showing a little bit of that pain as you see in the back. Lionel Sanders closing in.
And you can see the head wobble on Magnus Ditlev. It is really hurting him.
Still 2 laps to go here at Challenge Miami. 2 hours coming up on 19 minutes. Look at the gap now. Lionel Sanders sees Ditlev, knows that's the next one he has to get by to get up to second. He will then be just under 2 minutes behind Jan Frodeno. And this is for second.
Here we go.
He's going to grab some water. And right by he goes. Lionel Sanders up to second.
And you see him actually push the pace?
Found another gear.
Yep. Just to make sure that Magnus Magnus couldn't, but it didn't make sure he doesn't go with him at all. Straight past.
.221 the gap from Frodeno.
You can
back
see
to Lionel Sanders.
Right now, Sanders fastest runner on the field, followed by Hansen, then Frodeno, Lieferman, and then Maurizio Mendez.
Alicia.
Yeah, that was a beautiful thing to watch. That's what you call a decisive pass. He ensured that Ditlev didn't have any hope when he went by him. And just Lionel continues to surge. It's just insane to watch him continue to find gears to shift into at this juncture of the race. Like, I'm just so impressed watching Lionel. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of him as this race is unfolding because he's racing very strategically, but with his heart on his sleeve. He's just like, I dare you to go with me. And every person that's dared to has fallen off. And he just has one man ahead of him, and that's Frodeno. So I don't know if we'll see that gap close if Lionel's running as quickly as Frodeno is, but unfortunately that's the only man ahead.
Lionel Sanders, we just saw his pace, just over 5-minute mile pace. Folks, think about that. If you grab, or if you're at your local gym where you jump on a treadmill, you've got to go over 10 miles per hour. You're going over 10 miles per hour for 10.5 miles to be the pace that we're seeing right now out of Lionel Sanders. He is putting on a great performance here. As we see Ditlev, he's dropped back to third. He has a little under a minute gap between himself and Lieferman. It looks as though Lieferman could catch Ditlev before the end of this and move up into that third and final podium spot. The gap between Ditlev and Lieferman, about a minute, just under a minute. And here's Jan about to start lap 6. So 2 laps remain, 3 miles remain for Jan Frodeno of a 50.5 mile race, only 3 miles in front of him. Continuing to lap athletes and continuing to look smooth. Checking his watch.
So, Rick, it will be interesting to see if Magnus Ditlev can hold on to that last podium spot. It's not looking likely. It looks Chris Lieferman's having a very, very strong run himself. And he's literally only 35 seconds behind Ditlev now. So I think our final podium is going to be Frodeno, Sanders and Lieferman, with Ditlev just missing out.
We'll see what they have in the tank for the final lap.
Final lap. And we also know that Tyler Butterfield, I spoke about him earlier and what a class runner he is. And if he keeps running the pace he's running now, he could potentially run himself up into the top 5. So currently I think he's sitting in about 8th place, but running significantly faster than many of the men in front of him. So he could actually get himself up into 4th or 5th place as well, which would be pretty incredible considering where he got off the bike.
Lionel Sanders running about the same pace now as Jan. That gap still.
Look who is right behind him. Oh my gosh, Ben Canute is flying.
Can he catch him?
And it looks like Ben Canute is absolutely going for it. This is going to come, if it came down to a sprint finish, I know who I'd be choosing. Ben Canute is a short course athlete. He knows how to sprint. But this is phenomenal from Ben Canute. I thought he was, not that I thought he was done, but I thought for sure that was how it was going to remain. But to see him come back at Lieferman like this, wow.
Well, Greg called it earlier. He thought Ben Canute was going to be a guy that could be the underdog of this one, and now he's fighting for that top 3 spot, Greg.
Well, look at that, huh, guys? That has made my day.
Oh, here we go again.
Now, I think that, what is that prize for? What was the prize? What did we say?
It was dinner.
Well, it's not over yet. I mean, Chris Lieferman and Ben, this is going to be a really exciting podium.
And he's trying to pass Lieferman now. We'll see if Lieferman has anything left in the tank.
Wow, this is good racing. This is what we want to see.
Lisa's right there with him.
Yeah, we just got here in the nick of time to see Ben Canute surging away from Lieferman. And interestingly, we have the interesting wrinkle of Robbie Deckard, who's a lap down, but very much, pushing the pace with these guys. So that is part of the racing of when you have a multi-lapped course like this. But this is a decisive move now. Ben Canute has pulled away from Lieferman, and we'll see if he can really grow that gap before we get back into that headwind stretch. But Robbie Deckard is also staying with Ben, so Ben is moving through the field really well here.
You see the sunset behind Jan Frodeno here as he is coming into the final turns at Miami Homestead Speedway. His final lap through turns 3 and 4 here of Miami Homestead. And we can't say enough about how impressive the performance from the very start. We saw a giddy, I would say, Jan Frodeno before the event began. He did a perfect swim in the sense that he let other athletes maybe lead to where he could draft, then got on the bike, went out there and showed what kind of an athlete he was on the bike. Stayed up in the top position, top 2, transitioned to the run, and never looked back.
Never looked back. Never got himself into any trouble on the bike too, even when it started to get a little bit busy there. A good way through the bike ride, just kept his cool. Even when he dropped that gel, kept his cool. And you're right. The one thing I love, and you said it, he was giddy before the start, and I haven't seen that in Jan Frodeno for quite some time. Most of his races he goes in with a lot of pressure. He's often the number 1 going in. He's got a big target on his back, and so he's all business. And to see him just go back to doing what he loves and enjoying it, and that's what we've seen today. We've seen a Jan Frodeno loving what he does, and there is nothing better.
Well, he's showing us why he is and will be considered the greatest of all time. Coming into a competition where his opposition was very strong. Lionel Sanders has been fighting him for years now. Lionel Sanders holding on to second, but 2.5 minutes back from Jan Frodeno. And a big smile on his face as he moves down into the tunnel. He'll come onto pit road here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Hitting the red carpet and the flags. After 17 months of no competition, he's held on to his #1 ranking, and he comes in to challenge Miami, the overwhelming favorite and never disappoints. Jan Frodeno, challenge Miami winner 2021.
And Rick, I think he's happy.
It is my honor to crown you Challenge Miami champion.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. No, thank you for
having you both put it up. It's what we do.
Thank you, buddy.
Proud of you.
I appreciate it.
We'll see you in Watkins Glen.
Absolutely.
Go get some pictures. No boss. No boss. You got some Jill? Yeah, right here.
Thank you, sir.
And the Gutty performance.
Thank you.
You hear the crowd acknowledging who's about to come down that tunnel.
Well, that was poetry in motion. Amazing. What a race.
How about the yell when he grabbed the tape? You could tell there was 17 months of pent-up anxiety of not being able to compete that all came out right there.
You got it. Absolutely.
And now here comes Lionel Sanders. When you talk about gutty performances, this guy, if you look that up in the dictionary, it's his picture.
Every single time without doubt. He absolutely takes it right to the edge and then over. I don't know how he does it to himself, but it's incredible. And honestly, we know he had a decent swim. We know he wasn't that far behind, but then, we got on the bike and I was like, oh, but surely enough, he rode through everyone, he ran through everyone except Jan Frodeno.
Jan's winning time, 2 hours, 37 minutes, 57 seconds. And you see the clock, 2:39:40 for Lionel Sanders, and no slowing down for this athlete. He keeps on digging. He gets to the carpet and the tunnel, the flags. Lionel Sanders, second. Challenge Miami. 32nd out of the swim, and he comes home second in the event. Look at that determination on his face.
It's amazing.
So proud. I'm sure you got that. I'll get you water. I'm good right now, thank you. Thanks. Oh, you're the fucking man.
Well,
Good work, man. Good work.
They absolutely have so much respect for each other.
Yes. Yes.
Ben Canute.
What a finish for Ben
Beautiful.
Canute as well.
And he looks fantastic. Nice race for Ben. Really nice race for Ben. Look at that turnover.
What a kick. 10.5 miles, and this is what he's got at the end. That's 10.5 miles.
Oh, look at Chris Leafman right on his heel. Right on his heels. Great racing from these two men.
Yep. Lieberman tried to keep that pace up. It's Ben Canute that will come home third. Chris Lieberman right on his heels.
And here he comes, Rudy Von Berg right behind. So there's our top five. Lieberman in fourth. And here he comes, Rudy Von Berg, home in fifth. Solid race from Rudy yet again. In fact, Rudy Von Berg finished fifth at the PTO Champs in Daytona, so that's two fifth places for Rudy.
Challenge North America working out well for Rudy. .5 miles, 81.2 kilometers, the race. Here's Ditlev. And a good kick here at the end. Magnus Ditlev will finish sixth today.
Great finish from Magnus. He knew he had Ty Butterfield coming at him very, very quickly. Oh, really quickly, like right there. I didn't know it was that quickly. Nice race, Magnus. You could see that Magnus didn't have much left and he wanted to hold on to sixth, so great racing from Magnus Ditlev. In seventh, Ty Butterfield. Great race from Ty from way back. He ran through a good chunk of the field just then.
Let's hear from Challenge Miami winner, Jan Frodeno. He's with Greg.
Well, here he is, the champion, mate. You never cease to amaze me. Today was just unbelievable. You told us you were nervous. There was this excitement. You haven't raced for 17 months. Was there an expectation from you that you'd deliver a performance like that?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, there's always an expectation, and you know me for long enough to know that I always expect the most. And you know, I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning because I'm just nervous. I'm a little kid, and then I come out and I've got good legs, and I know it's just awesome to be able to push yourself, you know, and really go to that limit and look for it, and then keep the gas on.
Could the race pan out any better for you? With Ben Canute leading the swing, you found, you know, the feet of your training partner, Nick Castellin. The three of you got away. Tio managed to get across. I don't know if you knew that, but then you led for the first half of the bike, and then you had Starkey and Ditlev come by and help that pace up. It was like the perfect scenario, was it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when Starkey came by, it was a blessing and a curse, you know, because he ended up splitting the group behind. And at the same time, I had my numbers to stick to, and the one thing I was nervous about was the bike. I just hadn't done the real work that I need, and I overcooked it there a little bit and started cramping up towards the end of the bike. I was like, oh, stick to your numbers, Starkey's going to come back. But hats off to those boys, they rode really well.
Well, sticking to your numbers, mate, I don't know what those numbers are, but you made the rest of the field, honestly, you just kept opening gaps that you got to start the run with a pretty hefty lead. Were you getting splits from the side? Did you know how you were going?
I got the first split about 2 miles into the run. I think it might have actually, come from one of the guys from the side. And, you know, then you kind of, you're confident in the run, but then there's a few guys, you know, Matt Hansen, he's done some awesome stuff, and really I was looking forward to that battle, you know, that had been anticipated, and, you know, it's the same thing, you really want to keep the pressure on, and then in the end you're racing shadows.
Now, I've got one final question for you. Lionel Sanders, he said that he was either going to beat you or go home in a stretcher. So what's your answer to that?
Where's the stretcher? Bring on the stretcher.
No, honestly, you guys have tremendous respect for each other, and it was a fantastic race. Huge congrats again, Jan. Just absolutely phenomenal, mate.
Yeah, if I can just say one word of thanks to the organisers here at Challenge Miami. Honestly, Bill and his team put up a race in really testing times, and I'm just grateful to be able to go out and do what I love.
Congrats, mate. Huge congrats.
Talking about Bill Christie there, the chairman of Challenge North America, who has put on one of the greatest events that we saw 3 months ago, Challenge Daytona, the PTO Championship, and then this, Challenge Miami, taking racetracks, NASCAR tracks, and what are perfect venues for the triathlon, and giving these athletes an opportunity to come out here and test themselves and find out if they are as good as their training has shown, which we just saw from Jan. He said he was nervous about the bike. He was coming into that bike ride a little bit nervous, but he performed and did exactly what he had to do.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Ben Kuhner, huge congrats, mate. Third across the line. Not only that, you've made me look absolutely phenomenal. You were my underdog pick. I even said, why are you calling this guy an underdog? This race, this course is absolutely suited to him. Just tell me about your day. You led that entire swim, had a little hiccup coming out of transition. Did that concern you at all?
Oh man, that was such a rookie mistake. My water bottle's a little high and just my leg kind of nicked it, so I was just sort of mad at myself for making a silly mistake like that. But just, you know, the whole time I just tried to race my race. I put in a lot of good training and knew kind of where I needed to be. And some of those guys are just in great shape for early in the year. And I just wanted a good, solid race because it's been, you know, about a year or so since I've had like a good, solid effort the whole way. And I knew that I was in good run shape and just tried to set myself up for a great run.
Well, it seemed like across the board. I mean, you led the swim, your bike was there or thereabouts, you dropped off a little bit, sort of about lap 12, 13, just from the leaders there, and then you've had a phenomenal run. I mean, that run you've definitely worked on. What have you been doing?
Thanks. Yeah, we took 2020 and we just did run volume and speed work, and you know, we took a break from the swim and the bike a little bit, and it took me quite a while to bring that stuff back. And you know, I think I'm in an upward trajectory now. It's pretty early in the season, but you know, I've got a pretty good idea now of what these guys are going, and it's really, you know, tough to be on the same level as Jan and Lionel, but that's what I'm shooting for, so it's a good start.
Well, mate, you're almost there or thereabouts. That finish with Chris Leiferman, how was that? That final lap must have been brutal. Take us through that.
Yeah, well, he got me right at the end of Challenge Daytona, so I saw him the whole way, and he kept looking back, and I just saw it out. I'm like, oh man, third sounds so much better than fourth right now. I'm like, if I can just get to him, there's not many people I feel like that can sprint with me at the end, so I just kept digging and kept just pushing and seeing what I had inside of me, and it made for a great race and a great run.
Now, I got one final thing. You're a new dad. How much of an inspiration is that? You know, having your little kid at home, and has that been a great motivator for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen guys go with what we call dad strength, and I think I'm starting to tap into that. So it's been awesome being a dad, and yeah, now I can't wait to get home and see my little girl.
Hey, well, huge congrats to you. You've made me look phenomenal in the commentary booth. I am now the star of this whole show, so thank you for that. But huge congrats again, mate. Fantastic.
Thanks.
Hey, hold on there. Hey.
I still think Jan might be the star of the show. We're going to let him be the star of the show for at least the remainder. And Chris Leiferman, what a performance by him coming home in fourth.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I know you all want to take pictures with the pros, but due to the situation that we have, let's just keep, you know, the distance for safety. All right, so let's do this. In fifth place, 28-year-old from the USA. He did a 20-minute swim, 1:23 and 56 on the run. Mr. Rudy Bomberg. In fourth place, with a 22-minute swim, a 1:22 bike, and a 54-minute run, Chris Leiferman. Third place, he's from the USA, 29-year-old. He did a 20 minute swim, a 1:24, and a 55-minute run, Mr. Ben Canute. In second place, he did a 22-minute swim, a 1:22 bike, and a 53-minute run. And in one moment, he was doing a 4:55-minute mile. Mr. Lionel Sanders from Canada. And in first place, he's from Germany. And this is not the first time he's on top of the podium. He did a 20-minute swim, a 1:21 bike, and 53-minute run to claim the championship here at the Challenge Miami 2021 from Germany, Jan Frodeno!
Man down. Man down. Now, on behalf of Challenge Miami, Challenge North America, we present you with this champion's helmet signed by Michael McDowell, the 2021 champion at the Daytona 500. Wow. And more importantly, Chase Elliott, the world champion from 2020. Congratulations.
What a way to end an incredible event. A reminder, this event will be shown both the